All the members who join my art workshop in my art gallery, they're fascinated about art. They love to paint. They visited their favorite museums. Probably they visit some of their favorite artists. But 90% of the members, they lack the knowledge about art history. And I totally get it. Art history, it's a huge field. It's probably very complicated because we're not talking about decades. We're talking about centuries. We're talking about different movements in different eras. And to understand art history, it requires years of knowledge and studies. But that doesn't mean that you cannot have the basic art history knowledge that will help you open an artistic conversation, probably with your favorite artist. Or if you went to the Louvre, for example, you'd be able to understand what are you seeing, in which era these paintings were created, why this painting is painted in that way, and so on. There's nothing better to have the knowledge about something you love. You love art and probably you're fascinated about art history. In today's episode, I'm going to divide art history in 4 simple steps. A very simple guide that you will understand and that will help you to understand art from a different perspective.
Hi, I'm Lucy. On my channel, I show you the vibrant happenings inside the art gallery, offering a blend of art education and entertainment. Behind the scenes insights, art creations, art talks, and vlogs. So consider subscribing and welcome to the exclusive behind the scenes access to the Lucy Shop Art Gallery.
The first guide to understand about art history are the 36 movements. There are 36 movements in the entire art history, and each movement was created in a specific decade, specific era. We call them era in art history. For example, you have High Renaissance, Renaissance, Post-Impressionism, Realism, Minimalism, Contemporary art. All of these are movements. Now, once you're able to understand the movement, in which era it was created, you'll be able to understand why this art piece or this painting or this sculpture was made in that way. I'm going to give you a very simple example. Before the post-impressionism and the impressionism movement, the purpose of art was to tell a story. That's why most of the paintings, if not all of the paintings, are related to politics, weddings, religion, or certain events, because artists were commissioned to paint certain events for a memory. Now, after the post-impressionism movements, artists starts to focus more on how the artist feels. That's why it's called impressionism movement. So instead of the artist paint an event, they gave this job for photographers, and artists start focusing more on how they feel. So once you understand the movements, the 36 movements, and read a little bit about these movements, in which year these movements were created, you'll be able to understand more why this painting was painted that way, what's the message behind it, and what's the purpose behind this painting. So the first step is to read about the 36 movements of art. Guide number 2 is to understand the 26 themes. There are 26 themes in art. Now, the themes, for example, are still life, portrait, landscape. All of these are themes, politics, religion. So these are specific themes that each artist, they choose. For example, in the Renaissance era, artists were like Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. They used to paint more politics, religion, like the Last Supper. Once you understand in which movement it belongs, you'll be able to link it to the theme. What's the theme of this painting? Then you can relate and know approximately in which year this painting was created. So it is very nice to have the knowledge and an idea about the 26 themes of art. Guide number 3 is related to the techniques. There are 30 techniques that have been created by previous artists that still till now people are applying and learning from. Now, there are specific techniques that artists create that it's related to their own signature, to their own identity. For example, related to Leonardo da Vinci, there's a technique that's called the sfumato technique, meaning smoke, or fumare in Italian. Let's take an example like Vincent van Gogh. He created a technique called impasto technique, which means heavy strokes using palettes. So there are different techniques that legendary artists have created, and so many other artists learned from them. So there are 30 techniques that it's nice to read about. And the last guide to know more about art history are the works of the artist. Now, of course, it is impossible to understand all paintings, the meanings behind them, and what's the purpose and the message behind the art pieces. There's no way, and there's no one who is able to understand all paintings. But if you have a specific artist that you love, a specific movement that you gravitate to, for example, I love Renaissance art, but I do not paint figures. It's not my thing. I paint more into post-impressionism and impressionism movement, but I'm fascinated by Renaissance art. So I read a lot about Renaissance art. And because I read a lot, I have specific artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo. I love to know more about their artwork. So it is nice to have the knowledge about the art pieces that were created by these specific artists. So if you went to a museum or if you met someone who is fascinated by the same artist, you can have this interested art history talk with them. You won't be standing there and you don't know what to talk or you're not understanding anything. So have the knowledge about specific art pieces that you know, specific artists that you're fascinated by, watch documentaries, read books. When you go to museums and you have a specific painting that you want to see, let's give a very common example. The Mona Lisa. A lot of people find Mona Lisa that's overrated, unfortunately, because they're not aware about the art history behind the Mona Lisa. So before you see the Mona Lisa, I really encourage you, read about this painting, know the knowledge and the secret and the scientific discoveries behind it. Read why the Mona Lisa is so famous. What's the secret behind it? Watch documentaries. Once you do that, you'll be able to understand more the movement, the technique, the theme behind it, and the work behind this masterpiece. So if you divide art history in general into 4 simple small guides, read and understand the 36 movements, the 26 themes, the 30 art techniques, and artworks for your favorite artists or your favorite paintings, you will have enough knowledge about art history. You'll be able to understand paintings that you see in museums in a different way. You'll be able to understand sculptures, the meanings behind the art pieces, the different eras, the way of thinking, and the artist's life as well. Once you have knowledge about art history in this very simple guide, you will understand art from a different perspective. If you find this episode helpful and you enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting art talks like this one. I'm gonna leave another link right here. If you are interested to know more about art and you want to gain art knowledge, I share my favorite 5 art history books that I'm sure you're gonna enjoy and you're gonna love. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.